welcome back to Nintendo Treehouse live at E3.
Welcome back, guys.
Nate here, Morgan. We begged and pleaded and managed to get ourselves some more time with Splatoon because
we saw the tweets, the comments, more Splatoon. We actually already had it scheduled, but you're in for a treat either way.
I'm also really obsessed with this game. So we're gonna, I think, go into some more advanced strategies this time. Again, I just want to go over the basics so people
we're here
understand
at E3. This is the same version people are playing on the show floor, and it's got a nice little warm up to sort of get everyone familiar with the controls. They're about done with that actually, but what they're going to get ready to do is play a 4-on-4 online multiplayer. They're playing local LAN style here at E3, but this is a game you'll play at home online.
Online, right?
4-on-4 turf war. And what we mean by turf war is that you're running around a map, and instead of like standing in one spot to claim a piece of turf like you might in some games, you're splattering the entire map with ink and whatever your ink is on is your domain essentially.
Temporarily. Until somebody else comes and splatters ink on top of it. So yeah, depending on what you're seeing in the feed, on the TV screen, obviously you're going to be running around and splattering both other players and the ground with ink. But on your gamepad screen, you're going to be seeing essentially a real-time approximation of what's going on in the battlefield. You're going to see all the ink that's out there, both colors, and who's winning, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of my favorite parts about this game is you're never quite, you think you know who's winning, but it changes dynamically. I mean, it's every 2 seconds it's changing. It's not as straightforward as like, oh, I'm up 8 to 10 kills or whatever.
Yeah. And so just, again, for people just tuning in, basic controls are really, really simple. You're moving around with the left stick. You're moving your view with the right stick. And then there's sort of fine-tuned camera controls that are going on with the gyroscope in terms of aiming.
Oh, the gyroscope, I mean, the Wii U gamepad controls, it's my favorite implementation of twin stick, dual analog controls, but because you're shooting ink, you don't really need to be looking up and down that much. You're just changing the arc that you're splattering, and it feels so familiar, so intuitive right away. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's not like shooting a bullet. You're shooting a constant stream of stuff. So seeing the fine tune, just change the arc of where all your splattering is.
The controls meet the gameplay, and the gameplay fits the controls. Just perfect.
It feels really intuitive. All right, so Smitty here, who's our star player, who I believe the feed is showing, is right basically in a splatter zone in the middle. This is obviously hotly contested territory, right in the middle of the map. So it's a choke point. For both bases obviously are on opposite sides, so this middle area is always going to have a lot of splatters.
Yeah, it's a nice symmetrical. We talked about this in the last segment for people that saw it, but for those seeing the map for the first time, it's just a pure sort of a small scale, perfect multiplayer map, symmetrical, choke point right in the middle. A couple ways you can sneak around, but because you can turn into a squid, the map changes every time. Whenever there's ink on the map, it changes the map.
Yeah, totally. Well, and Smitty's just mobbing it right here. You see, he's deep in enemy territory, so everywhere he goes...
He's going up the wall right now.
Nice.
Well, he's
just hiding.
He's hiding. Look at that. Look at that. And he knows somebody's coming.
He's right at his feet.
Oh.
There he is.
You see it, death from above. Literally, he's like creeping in the wall.
Wow, he's actually kind of mobbing on everybody right now.
And you can see Eric's really good at using that squid form to, you have so many... You have such an advantage as a squid because you're moving quicker, your ink's refilling quicker.
Yeah. I mean, when you're moving around, obviously, when you're running around, it feels quite a bit slower than squid form. I mean, if you had it your way, you'd obviously be running around squid form all the time because it's almost double the speed.
Oh my God! Look at this. Like 5 splatter bombs all in the middle.
In case somebody didn't tune into the previous stream, splatter bombs are, they're like grenades filled with ink.
Yeah, it's like an ink grenade.
And you can't just go around hucking them.
Look at that, he popped right up.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right though. I'm looking at the map, and I don't think it really matters that he did that. I think that they're way ahead.
Yeah.
Green, I think took this one.
This is my favorite moment of the match because this one you can tell at a glance. It looks like Green's got it, but it looks closer than you might think.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, 42, 32.
10%. That's a drubbing.
Yeah.
Solid drubbing. So these characters on screen, we covered this in the first segment, but they're called Inklings. Obviously, they are based on squid. I can't get it. This guy's got like a tentacle top knot sticking out of his visor over there.
Yeah.
I can't talk enough about how the dev team has taken this squid motif and just run with it everywhere.
It's just
right there. And you can see him. Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about that in this segment. The ink jump there. So Smitty, to get back in the action as soon as he respawned, essentially takes a look at his map, sees where the trouble zones are and where his teammates are, and can jump to any single one of them.
Yeah, and you can also jump back to your spawn point. So, I think a lot of people are familiar with first-person shooting, like sort of the territory-based gameplay. You all try to get to a certain point, hold that point, and then you get points for sort of holding these different plots of territory.
For getting
but
kills
maybe then you lose it or whatever. This one, the whole map is the territory, and you can always jump back and forth from where your teammates are and back to base.
Yeah.
So it becomes super dynamic as far as where the action's happening. You're never out of the action. You don't have to spend any time running back to where your buddies are because you can just jump right to their spot.
Yeah. No, I gotta cross the map. Well, yeah, I mean, high ground becomes more important than in any other game because you have the gravity of the, you know, the ink to deal with. So if you're standing below someone and trying to angle it up, it's not like it can go up an infinite amount like a bullet.
Look at this though. Look, I don't know if they.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we all play all kinds of games, and among them we play third-person shooters, first-person shooters. So I figured I would just know automatically how to play this. And to be honest, when I first picked it up, I did feel like I really knew the movement. I mean, it felt really natural. But the subtleties of turning into a squid, maneuvering as a squid, jumping in and out of ink as a squid, that's the stuff that you really got to spend some time with to really master.
Yeah, the game is, I mean, Eric here who's playing is one of the most, he's like naturally gifted first-person shooter player, and this game is not, it's using all of his abilities, you know?
Well, you can see he's doing some advanced, like, puddle-to-puddle jumping here.
And you know what's amazing too, Eric? If you want to just go over to a section and just shoot one little splatter and then duck in that, you can just, it doesn't have to be a bunch. You can just creep into one splatter.
And sometimes that's better because if people see a ton of orange ink, say, they're going to say, oh, there's definitely some dude hiding in there waiting to ambush me. But if it's just a little, it's just a little splurt.
Oh yeah, you can get kind of sneaky and a little bit dirty with that technique. You could put one little ink drop.
Look at the splatter jumping.
Oh yeah,
see, that's advanced right there.
That's beautiful. And see, why don't you go ahead and throw a splatter bomb for us, Eric? When his tank is like up over that little red arrow, it takes 70% of his tank, and you just get that really cool ink grenade.
Good splatter pattern.
And you can see where his tank, that sort of tank icon that's coming out. When you're a squid, your ink refills way faster than when you're running around shooting it. So
right.
It really behooves you to sort of be switching back and forth between person squid.
Look at it's even squid tentacles in the loading screen.
Everything.
I'm telling you, I'm loving the squid motif. Speaking of the splatter bombs, though, I'm really awful with grenades in first-person shooters for some reason. I have no idea why. I think it's because I can't like throw at proper trajectories. But the beauty of this game is when you, like, even when you miss, you're still doing good because it's splattering ink everywhere. It's like it doesn't matter that you didn't you didn't splatter an enemy. You still splattered ink all over the place.
No, I agree, and that's I think one of the important points about this game too is like if you're not, maybe you don't want to run out and start carving your way into enemy territory. Anytime you're shooting ink, you're helping your team.
Yep.
So it really lowers that barrier of entry for me anyway. Like, you could have your little brother playing, or you could have like Bill Trinan playing, and be like, Bill, we don't really trust you on the front line, so why don't you just stay home and just paint the base like you're painting your fence at home on Saturday.
This is something that I often forget to do, which is, even in your home base, going up and finding all the high platforms that you can and covering those with your ink is important, I think, for two reasons. One of the main reasons is it's not an area that's immediately obvious that is claimed by you. Like the ground right underneath your feet, everybody's going to shoot that. But some high platform, you might not even realize that thing is blue until you get up there, and then you're like, oh man, I got to go up there and cover it with my own
that
ink.
can happen because another thing on the gamepad map is you see, and just to clarify a point for people at home, you can shoot ink on almost any surface, walls, ground, ramps. What's counting towards your total at the end is actually like walkable area. So it's like ground, ramps. The walls aren't counting in your total, but a lot of times they can really help you do some sneaky stuff.
Yeah, strategically.
But at the same time, if you're like trying to make a last minute comeback, you got to remember to focus on the ground and not get hung up by like if the whole wall is blue.
Yeah, exactly. Super weapon, yo. So as you can see, Smitty's got his super weapon available. At this point, anytime he wants to click his R button. Yeah, there it is. And once you activate that, you want to activate it at the right time because once you click it, that's it. You just got to shoot as much as you possibly can.
Exactly.
In a certain time period.
Yeah, like once you fire it up, it's like it has like a 5-second cooldown. You shoot it as many times as you can before the timer runs out. So he had his super weapon ready too, and the super weapon doesn't carry over. So once you respawn, if you had it ready to unleash, you don't get it back. You got to re-earn it.
Yeah. Something to just to note. It's probably not something that is immediately obvious on the feed, though, but that little sequence there where he was down below the grate and then he looked up and painted the wall and then scooted up the grate, that's where I really think the gyro is just so important because you're looking around, horizontally and up and down, but being able to really quickly check up, pop it with your paint and then scooch up there, it really feels natural with the gyro.
I've seen so many people here at E3 on the show floor just pick up the game and like the controls don't take any time to get used to. It just feels so good, and then you can focus on, you know, the strategy.
Whoa. It's actually this is a tight match. I can't. Can you figure that out? I mean, it looks like Pink is making inroads right now, but
my favorite thing. I've said this before, but it's true. I say it because it's true. My favorite thing is that you never quite know who's winning because you look down, and you're like, all right, we're doing great. Yeah. We've got our base locked down. We're advancing into enemy territory. You can look down 10 seconds later, and it's completely changed.
Yeah, imagine how it would be so crappy if there was like a little percentage meter there, so you knew exactly like what percentage was covered. That would rob it of basically all the excitement. What do you say, Smitty? Oh man!
This is the closest one we've had this session. That's that's 2%. Less than 2%. And we haven't talked about this, but on the end screen, you win as a team, but you also get ranked as an individual player. So you could be on the winning team and have be the top. Your 4 could be the top 4, or you could be on the losing team but be the highest ranked player because you did the most work for your team.
You're basically getting those points. Are basically all the time that you're splattering ink over a surface, you're getting points, right?
Yeah.
And that includes when you splatter an opponent.
Yeah.
You're getting points because they basically
we'll see that in the next match.
But
but the little counter you see at the upper right corner of the screen is not your team points. We've talked about how that's not really quantified until the end. It's just shown on the map. But that point is how much like new turf or ink you're recovering. So you're able to sort of build your own point total, which adds to your super weapon charge ability, which adds to your total at the end, and sort of you can.
And that's cumulative, right? So it's like, if I paint something and then somebody paints over it, I'm not getting points like yanked back, am I?
No.
It's like I'm accumulating the entire time.
And you get a little bump if you like splatter somebody or, and it can be kind of nice, a team-based game. Your team might lose it in the end, but you can still be like, hey, I did my part, I was top dog.
Hey, obviously you can be painting everything and a lot of this stuff is navigable, but like, there's definitely walls that you can't spray.
Yep.
There are floors that you can't spray with ink that are going to change things. There's also areas where you see a little perimeter border. So the vertical border up there on the top of the wall.
Yeah, so he can't swim.
He's not going to be able to pass.
He's kind
of
bumping against that.
Yeah. But that's not everywhere. So
not everywhere.
Studying the environment and seeing areas where you can pop over things. That actually, you were just giving me a really good idea. It's sort of Mario Kart 8 inspired idea where, paint a wall and then there's a gap and then there's another wall painted on the other side. Hopping off that wall and into the other wall. You think is that possible?
It's probably possible. I've seen some
try to do that. Do some wall. No, I'm just kidding.
For those people who saw the digital event too, there's some in the trailer sort of that's at the end of that of the gameplay. There's some intense stuff happening there, and there's also some we haven't talked about this really, but there's some stuff shown in that. I would encourage anybody who's really liking seeing Splatoon here to go back and watch the Nintendo digital event and watch that Splatoon section because there's some stuff that we're not seeing in this version on the show floor that we saw in that video. And
actually, the more time we've spent down here, the more I realize I need to go back there and study that thing because it seems like they dropped a lot of nuggets of stuff that we're going to see in the final game.
And who knows if that stuff's final, but it just gives you an idea of like, wow, with the sort of core spec that they've fleshed out for this demo, think about different maps, think about different weapons, and I think that's sort of part of putting those in there is just to sort of get people's minds going, and I cannot wait to see what they do with this.